Hello guys, and welcome back to another Dazod 500 video. And I've been studying this for a while, I think maybe like a year or two now. And now I feel comfortable ranking all of the United States presidents. So basically what I think is best is to rank presidents that served before your birth. So I'll be going up to George W. Bush. And speaking of George W. Bush, he's the first guy here. We're just going to leave him in D tier for now. I'm going to talk about him. After 9/11, he got, I think, 91% approval rating in the States, which is just absolutely high. I don't think we're going to see that ever again. And, yeah, I think Afghanistan probably needed to happen because of, terrorists and stuff. But Iraq, I do think that was a bit of a stretch. I'm going to say C tier for George W. Bush. James Buchanan, he nearly got impeached. I don't think most people know that, but Buchanan almost had an impeachment trial. So, but yeah, he was probably the worst president ever, so I'm going to say F tier. Once there's more presidents in each tier, we're going to move them around a little bit. Jimmy Carter, as a human being, S tier. But as the President of the United States, I don't think I could say the same thing. I can't look over the mistakes and blunders that Carter made, but I can't just say, F tier, D tier. I'm going to say C tier for Jimmy Carter. Another one that's overlooked here, Chester Arthur. Probably one of the better presidents in the 1880s. Didn't do a whole lot horrible. The Chinese Exclusion Act, I think that was under Arthur. That was a horrible law, let's be honest. So, if you could overlook that, which I know, if you could overlook the worst thing a president has done, S tier. But, Chester Arthur, I'd say overall, probably C tier as well. I'm just going to drop that in the middle for now. We're going to move that as we go along here. Grover Cleveland. He did a lot of good things. I know I'm not going to put him in D, just leaving them there to talk about Cleveland. His second term, the end of his second term, he was super unpopular, did a lot of bad things. But when he was called on to annex Cuba, when he was called on to annex Hawaii, he declined. So I'm going to say B tier for Cleveland. I think that's fair. A tier is pretty respectable. A tier makes sense, but I just have to say B tier for Cleveland at this moment. I could rank these presidents higher later on in the video. Bill Clinton, let's leave it at C for now. Clinton had the Monica Lewinsky affair. He was actually impeached. He wasn't convicted, but the economy under Clinton was just so good. Al Gore, he was Al Gore, man, and then Clinton winning in 1992, taking Bush out of office, probably a good thing. I'm going to put Clinton, it's A or B for me. I'm going to say B tier for Clinton. Hopefully you guys agree with me on that one. Coolidge. Calvin Coolidge is such an underrated president. Such an underrated president. People don't know. If you look at a graph at the debt in American history, right before the Great Depression, that was Calvin Coolidge. He spent $7 billion of the debt off. I think that's pretty good. And he also reduced taxes. Coolidge is such a great president. I'm gonna say A tier for Calvin Coolidge. And then here comes the successor, Hoover, F tier. If you want to say how was Coolidge A tier and Hoover F tier, well, it's kind of simple. Coolidge did better with the economy than Hoover. I mean, Hoover was Secretary of Commerce. I think was under Wilson, but Herbert Hoover, it's just he should have done more. Personally, the Smoot-Hawley tariff act. I know what he was thinking. Signing that law, but it's just probably one of the worst laws in American history. Sorry, Herbert. Gotta go for F tier. William Henry Harrison. What do I have to say for Harrison? Should I make a non-inclusive tier? Yeah, I'm just going to leave the presidents that I don't think can be ranked. I'm just going to leave them here to be ranked. Same thing with Obama and Trump. I'm going to leave them there. Dwight Eisenhower, easily A tier. Yeah, Korea was Korea. That's probably not a good thing. You probably shouldn't have done that. Bay of Pigs was drafted under Eisenhower. But he did also do lots of good stuff in office, which I can't list at this time because I'm kind of forgetting all of this stuff as we're ranking them. Eisenhower is such a great president. A tier, at least, for Ike. William Howard Taft. Taft was Roosevelt's hand-picked successor. He just pissed off Theodore. He just pissed off Roosevelt. I'm going to say C tier for William Howard Taft. That obviously doesn't mean better than Carter. I'm going to rank that at the end, so do not think that I'm doing it now. Fillmore. I'm considering C or D tier. I'm going to be a bit generous to Fillmore. I'll put him in C tier. Gerald Ford. That's also either B or C tier. Ford came in as Nixon's successor, elevated to the presidency. He wasn't even elected in 1972 as the vice president. It was Spiro Agnew. He resigned the next year, Agnew. Ford came in, 1 year as vice president, ascended to the higher office. Pardons Nixon, so I don't really think I could give him B tier. C tier for Gerald Ford, in my opinion. Ulysses Grant, as a general, he was a very, very skilled, very talented general. But Ulysses Grant, as President of the United States, I'm considering a B tier or a C tier. I'm going to say C tier, though. C tier, I hope that's a bit more respectable for Grant. Harding, he was pretty progressive, honestly. But I don't think I could say F tier. I'm going to say D tier for Warren Harding. I think F tier should be reserved for, like, the worst of the worst. Like, Buchanan, like, Hoover. Harding was a bad president, but there was just something that, I don't know why, just D tier for Harding. Rutherford Hayes, C tier Hayes. C tier. He got in with the fraud. Rutherford. C tier, though, C tier. Andrew Jackson, he's getting viewed less positively, but I don't think I could say D tier. I'm going to say C tier for Andrew Jackson. Now, Thomas Jefferson, I can't just go off his personal life, because if it's his personal life, there has to be something below F. He'd be like G tier based off his personal life, but as President of the United States, the Embargo Act was pretty bad, but I have to say everything else A tier for Jefferson. And then his predecessor, the president when he was serving as vice president, John Adams, way worse. I'm going to give him C tier. I don't think D tier is worthy for John Adams. Andrew Johnson, probably one of the worst. For me, it's either between Buchanan and Johnson as the worst president, but we're going to get to that at the end of the video. This is really hurting my back. John F. Kennedy. I do think that his reputation gets more blown out of proportion positively for Kennedy because he was a young guy, he was assassinated, but I do think Kennedy, he's deserving of at least B tier. I don't think C tier or D tier would be worthy for Kennedy. B tier Kennedy. James Garfield, I can't just give him F tier. He was one of the most intelligent presidents. B tier for Garfield. Lyndon Johnson. Now, for me, Johnson is either a B tier or a C tier, but I don't think I could give him C tier. I'm going to give him a B tier. Lyndon Johnson, with the Civil Rights Act, comes in as Kennedy's successor, and he does a pretty good job there. He declines 4 more years. If he were to serve those 4 more years and get out of office January 20th, 1973, he would have died 2 days after leaving office, which would be the shortest stint post-presidency. Take over Polk's record of 3 months. And we have Abraham Lincoln. Alright, so most people thinking that I'm a young guy, you're going to think that I'm going to put them in S tier because, oh, well, he freed the slaves. Not necessarily. He didn't free the slaves. He had the Civil War, but the 13th Amendment, he did push for the 13th Amendment, I'll give him that, but the 13th Amendment, which banned slavery, was passed under Johnson, so yeah, but Johnson's still a horrible president. Lincoln is definitely not S tier. I wouldn't even say A tier. He was pretty racist. I'm gonna say B tier for Lincoln. I mean, every president, like the first 16, 17 presidents were all extremely racist. Because that's just their time back then. That's just what happened. I'm not condoning it, but it's gonna happen. Benjamin Harrison, again, horrible president, yes, but I don't think he deserves F tier, D tier. He actually only spent half the day working. The other half the day he wanted to spend with his kids. So why did he run for re-election? I don't freaking know. Madison, easy B tier. As a person, as a founding father, really vital to our country's early years as a founding father. But as president, he didn't sign the Constitution as president. He did that way before. As president, he started the War of 1812 against my home nation, Canada. That was kind of stupid of him to do that, but we're just going to go to William McKinley now. McKinley. I'm going to say either B tier or C tier. I mean, I cannot overlook the Philippine-American War, so I gotta say C tier. C tier for William McKinley. James Monroe. Now, I'm actually considering moving Madison up. No. I'm going to put Monroe B tier. Yeah, Richard Nixon. D tier. I cannot just say Nixon, you go F tier because Watergate. Nixon was a lovable guy. Oh, that's Obama. Nixon was a lovable guy. He was a great president before Watergate. And when people think of Nixon, thinking of Watergate is just kind of sad because of the amazing efforts he made. As president, won 500 electoral votes. Barely lost in 1960. But, of course, Watergate. George H.W. Bush. I think I'm actually going to leave him in C tier. Read my lips. Yeah, C tier for George H.W. Bush. Pierce, F tier. I don't even think that's questionable. And FDR. Should I put him in A tier or should I put him in B tier here, guys? You guys can't hear me. I'm going to put him in B tier just because of the Japanese internment camps. That was a horrible thing that FDR did. Just overall racism in that decision, which is not good. So I'm just going to leave him in B tier. Polk, another one of those underrated presidents, but also one that really should get noticed more. So I'm going to leave him in B tier. I know there's lots of presidents in that B tier. I am considering moving Clinton up. I'm going to move Clinton up to A tier. Yeah. John Quincy Adams, that is C tier. He just didn't really do anything. He had the corrupt bargain, but he didn't really do anything. Reagan, big major collapse of the Soviet Union. Reason to the collapse of the Soviet Union. A tier, B tier for Reagan. I'm going to put him in the B tier for Reagan. Inflation somehow in the 80s was just so high up. Taylor. I'm going to put Taylor in B tier. I mean, I've always thought of Reagan as an A tier president. Yeah, let's do that. A tier for Ronald Reagan, which might scare some of you guys. Roosevelt is an easy S. Theodore Roosevelt was just absolutely amazing as president. The Food and Drug Act, I think, was a good act, but maybe it wasn't. But yeah, just lovable guy, just amazing guy as president. S tier. Harry Truman did drop the nukes, which, well, that could have been a good thing, that could have been a bad thing. That's up to you. I'm going to put him in B tier. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. John Tyler, D tier. He did a lot to say, yeah, I'm the president now, guys. I'm the president. You guys got to listen to me. Van Buren, either C tier or B tier. And I'll go for B tier for Martin Van Buren. Washington, easily S tier. Easily S tier. And then Woodrow Wilson, probably D tier. I'm not even going to say F tier for Wilson. He was very racist for his time. But looking at Pierce, looking at Johnson, looking at Buchanan, looking at Hoover, I don't think I could put Wilson in F tier. I gotta put Wilson in the D tier. So Harrison, Obama, and Trump I just cannot rank because pretty recent. So let's move around them. S tier. Who do I think is the best president? Is it Roosevelt or is it Washington? I'm gonna say Washington is the best president. He goes above Roosevelt because I gotta move Roosevelt there. A tier. I'm gonna put Jefferson above Reagan. I'm gonna leave Reagan there. I'm gonna put Clinton behind Jefferson, and I think that's finalized. Eisenhower, Coolidge, Eisenhower, Jefferson, Clinton, Reagan. In B tier, I'm gonna say the best of these presidents, Lincoln, probably moving that up. Kennedy right behind him. Truman behind Cleveland. I think Cleveland was a better president than Truman. Johnson better than Garfield. FDR just for World War II. Polk. Madison or Polk? I'm going to say Madison better than Polk, barely. Taylor, probably. Yeah, Monroe was pretty popular, but I just really can't say that at this time. Here, C tier. Jackson moves all the way up to first in C tier. McKinley, I'm going to leave him there right now. George H.W. Bush, probably ahead of his son. I think he was a better president than his dad. We're going to move him. Chester Arthur, probably last on the list here. Quincy Adams was a better president here. Rutherford Hayes. Ulysses Grant ahead of McKinley. Taft, we're going to move Taft ahead of Ford. And we're actually going to put Fillmore last there. D tier, probably Woodrow Wilson above all these guys. Actually, let's put Nixon the best in D tier. Then Wilson, then Benjamin Harrison, and then Tyler, and then Harding. I'm going to put Pierce the best in this F tier. I'm going to do that. I really am. And then Hoover above Buchanan. Now, who do I think is the worst president? Is it Johnson? Is it Buchanan? I think it's Johnson. Buchanan really couldn't have done much to prevent the Civil War. So yeah, this is my ranking. Washington, Roosevelt, Coolidge, Eisenhower, Jefferson, Clinton, Reagan, Lincoln, Kennedy, Cleveland, Truman, Johnson, Garfield, Roosevelt, FDR Roosevelt, Madison, Polk, Taylor, Monroe, Van Buren, Jackson, Bush again, Grant, McKinley, Carter, Taft, Ford, Adams, Rutherford Hayes, Adams again, Arthur, Fillmore, Nixon, Wilson, Harrison, Tyler, Harding, Pierce, Hoover, Buchanan, Johnson. So, I hope you did enjoy this, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Peace.